Hello and welcome to a bonus video using the Mountain Majesties paper pumpkin kit from May. This bonus video teaches you how to make the little mini album that's made from 3 envelopes and 3 cards. So I'll give you a quick look and then I'll show you how easy it is to put this little book together. So here's the cover, and you'll see that the cover includes half of one of the card bases and is made from 1 envelope. The second card base is right here. Here's the second envelope on this page here. Okay. There's the third card and the third envelope, and then there's the back of that very first card. So let me show you how simple this is to put together. You are going to need your paper trimmer so that you can do some scoring, and you're going to need 3 envelopes. And the first envelope, which will end up being our cover, we're going to put the left edge of the envelope at 4 5/8. So put your envelope at 4 5/8, get your cutting blade out of the way, and you're going to just do a nice gentle score right there on that envelope flap. So that is envelope number 1, all right? And we're going to turn this over, and it's actually going to fold there, and it will fold here. So we'll fold it on both of those score lines inward, okay? So it's gonna be that. That's gonna be the front, but this will be the binding around to the back of the envelope. So that's envelope number 1. Envelope 2 and 3, you're gonna do something just a little bit different, but these 2 will be the same. So for our second envelope, we are going to put that left edge again. This time, we're gonna put that left edge at 4 3/4. We'll give a little bit of a score. Don't score so hard that you cut. And then we're going to slide this over to 4 5/8. Okay, so now there's 2 score lines there, and we'll fold those in just a minute. Let's do this second one, then that way we can get this out of the way. All right, so this one, left edge again at 4 3/4. And 4 5/8. Okay. All right. So here's how we're going to start to put this together. We'll take both of our envelopes, and this is going to actually, on this one, we're going to fold, so not the score line from the envelope. Let's just pass that one for just a second. But the one that we made that was at 4 3/4, we're going to make that be a mountain fold, and let's give it just a nice, clean, crisp burnish so that it's got a crisp fold. Then the other 2 are actually going to be valley folds. So let's just kind of fold that in. Fold this one in as well. Okay, so now you have something that looks like that. So let's do that to both. So we're going to go valley. And then the score line that we made will go mountain. So give that a good crisp burnish. And then this last one is also a valley. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna glue these pieces together right here. So this is gonna end up being a tab. So we'll just take a little bit of glue. So you can use glue, or you could use tear and tape, whatever you like to use. I prefer the green cap glue because it gives me just a moment to be able to kind of move some papers around and get them just the way I like. But I have just a little too much. The glue was just flowing a little too fast here. So I'm just going to kind of calm some of this glue down, kind of take some of that away. Okay, you want to make sure it doesn't come out. In fact, let me just take out just a little bit more of that. Oh, that's better. Okay, That's the only thing with this multi-purpose glue. Less is more. I do like to be able to kind of move things around. That's a positive for me for this. But yeah, you don't want it to come squirting out. Okay, so there's our first tab. Now let's do the same thing to this one. And so once you have that mastered, you know, that less is more, just how much you really need, this really is a great adhesive. It had been upside down, so it had just quite a bit of it coming out faster than what I was expecting. All right, and I've got glue on my work surface, which drives me crazy, but that's okay. We'll keep going. All right, so now here's how this is going to work. We're going to take the first envelope. So here was our very first envelope, and remember, this is the cover. We're going to open this first one up, and I'm going to turn this one upside down, and I'm going to insert this flap inside that first envelope, just like so, okay? So this is what it looks like from this side, and then the back, okay? Do not glue that down. Don't glue that down at all. Now, what you're gonna do, that's gonna set in there. Let's pull this back, and we're gonna squirt some glue inside. Now, the reason I'm not gonna put glue on here and then slide it in is because it's gonna end up getting glue all over this. So, ask me how I know. From experience. So, I find that this is the better way to do it, but go ahead and make sure that your envelopes are all aligned just the way you want, and then kind of hold this just a little bit, and then lift this up just a little bit. Now, don't go crazy with the glue. Just do a little bit. It doesn't need a ton. But again, because you have that glue, it allows you to kind of move things around and get it just right. And the nice thing is I don't have any glue on my flap here. I'm pretty, you know, I'm clean of all glue. All right. So now let's go ahead. So let's just kind of, so if in case you're confused, here is the first envelope. Then we open up. Here's the second one. Okay. Then we'll move this one back. And then let's take, here's our envelope that we did. We're going to turn it upside down. We're going to tuck the flap inside there. Okay, just get that to set right where you like it. Fold that back. Let's kind of align things. And now lift, and you're going to go in this second spot. And my flap came out when I was trying to show you. Okay, so just make sure you're putting glue in the right spot. Okay. I'm trying to get it in just the right spot. Bear with me. Okay, we're there. So it's going to go right in here. So just lift that up and just squirt a little bit of glue in there. And then you've got time, since that is to really align things and make things just right. Okay. So there is the start to my book. And then I'm going to hold off on gluing this flap down. Eventually it will be glued down. But what I want to recommend to you is to make your album and then glue it down at the end. Okay? So it'll be the second to last thing you do. At the end of your book, you'll cut your card base in half and put it on top. Just before you put that on top, then you'll glue it down. That way you will have the bulk within your book, and it'll kind of flush it out. Because if you do it right now, it's going to end up being a little bit tight. And so by the time you get pictures and layers in here, it'll kind of fill out this this space here, this 3/8 of an inch in there. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. If it didn't, shoot me a a comment, and I will help you out with that. Okay, here's my card base. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this in half. All right. So we'll just take this card base, and so this is gonna be the back of my card. Not the back of my card, the back of my mini album here. So save that. And here is the front of our base. And so I'm going to actually trim this down, and I'm going to trim it down. And since the reason I turned it upside down is because this edge here has that little bit of the score line in it. So I'm just going to kind of trim that one off. But I'm going to trim this down to be 4 1/8 inches wide. Okay, so we're just taking an 1/8 inch off, and I'm going to take an 1/8 inch off this end up here. And I'm going to make this be 5 3/8. Okay, so here is our front cover. And while we're doing things, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the back piece. And we're going to trim this to be 4 1/8. That way this is ready. And I won't have to go, oh, did I take it off the top or the bottom? I know that I took it off the top on this one, so I'm going to rotate this. That way, you know, you don't see the front and the back at the same time, but at least there's some consistency running throughout the book. So you could really choose to put either one on the front or the back, but just select one for the front and one for the back. All right, and just set those aside for now. And let's take our next card bases here. And so we're done with the trimmer, which is cool. This is going to be our first page that we set inside, and this will be our second page that we set inside. So you may notice that I've already cut a frame. I have used the Textured Notes Rectangles dies to cut a frame in the right side of both of these card bases. So I actually used these on projects that you saw in my Up style. So if you're wondering where I got those, that's where I got them. I did mention it in that class, but if you were wondering, this is where they came from. All right, so now we're going to take this and we're going to just give it a nice fold in half. Okay, get a good crease on there. And now this piece here, and you can decide whether you want it to go this way or this way, but I kind of wanted this green, which felt like ground to me, to be on the bottom. So mine's going to go on this direction. So this little tab that we've created here, this is going to be what we attach our pages in our mini album to. So let's just start, and we'll do this real easy here. You could use tear-in tape if you want. I'm going to stick with my green cap glue, and I'm not going to put massive amounts on here. I'm going to put enough to hold it, but not too much that it goes like splattering out the edges. I don't want it to come oozing out, if you know what I mean. So I'm centering my card base here on this tab. Okay, get that just how you want it. Okay, and just kind of dry fit it in place. Is it folding smoothly? Does it look good? Does it look even? Looks pretty good. Now I'm going to take this side, and I'm actually going to open this up and do this over here rather than on the tab, just because this is a little bit smaller than the tab. Little narrower, but I'm going to add some glue there just like that, and then we'll just bring this in just like so. Okay, so just like that we have added a page into our book. Okay, so we'll do the same thing to the second one that we did, and we'll use this card base here. Give this a nice crisp fold. I'll open this up, add my glue to this edge. Again, be gentle with your glue. You don't need too much. Okay, I'm just going to kind of put that in there evenly. And make sure things look good from top to bottom, side to side. Just give that a burnish. Pick that up. Okay, make sure everything's just kind of sitting nicely, that it fits together and doesn't buckle. If it buckles somewhere, then you just need to trim off a little bit. Like say it was buckling right through here, then I would just do a hairline trim just to help that out. Okay, so here I'm putting this last little bit of adhesive in here, not going too overboard. And then we'll close this page. And just like that, that page is on there. Now, you could actually squirt a little glue into the bottom if you're going to be using this as a frame, which I did. So, and then I left the top open so that I could get in there, but I can still get in there with a little bit of glue. I can go just like this, just a tiny bit on that edge, okay, to hold that one shut at the bottom. And I can do the same thing on this page, just a little right inside there, not a ton. I'm going to do it at the bottom so that I can, you know, still tuck a photo down in there. Okay, so that is the construction of the book. So the front would get a layer here, like so. And then you have all of your pages. Oops. Sorry about the dog. Somebody's riding by on their bike. And then, like I say, you're totally create your album and don't worry about this page here. Sorry about the dog. She's leaving. The joys of having dogs here. Anyhow, so once you finish decorating everything, you'll glue that down and then add this one on top. And so that is how I made my book. That's how I put the pages together. It's really rather simple. Let me show you again one more time my original here. So you can see some of the pieces that I used from the kit. And I'll go through and kind of chat about a few things that aren't from the kit. So not from the kit. Looks like I got a little bit of something on here. Let me scooch that off. So little hanging on things, extra pieces that we want to not have on our book. All right, so this is the mini alphabet, and these letters are, they're 2 layers deep, all right? So I've cut 2 of each and stacked them so they have a little bit of dimension to them. This is Misty Moonlight, and then these, the lake, this is the alphabet a la mode. And these are 3 layers deep to give them a little bit more dimension. The In Color Flat Pearls, this is the cloud cover color. These In Color Flat Pearls are amazing. And the dogs are still barking. They're still having at it. This is another piece from the kit. I just added that with dimensionals. And then this is actually natural linen thread that I colored with a black blend to pick up the black in our die cuts here from the kit. All right, here's the first page. You can see that I've brought in the dies that coordinate with this quarters paper pumpkin kits. So this is the Hugs of Bloom dies. This is that label from there, which are fabulous. I've also incorporated some flip-flaps in this little mini album. That way I can kind of, you know, add a little touch of journaling and even more photos. But then I've also used some die cuts from the Scenic Adventure Dies. So fabulous dies. And then I've just used more pieces. I don't know if you can kind of totally see them here, but there are more pieces here from the kit that I've just kind of carried throughout. There's lots of pieces in there. And so this page here, this is one of the frames. So I slipped a photo down in there. And even more of the die cuts and pieces from the kit, from the Mountain Majesties kit. This olive pieces from the kit. And then I've just die cut the Scenic Adventures in Lost Lagoon and kind of just tried to grab these 2 angles to kind of mimic that. So I'm just carrying it through that way. And then this one, I'm just trying to catch this line here to bring that across this photo. Here, this is the, this is just 1 layer, but this is more of that mini alphabet. And more of the pieces from the kit. and more die cuts. I just think it's really fun. And you know, it was amazing how the greetings in this little Mountain Majesties kit were perfect for this little mini album, right? And here's the last page, more of that Scenic Adventures. And of course, being true to my style, they have a little wink of Stella on them. And here's one last flip flap. You open this one, a little bit more journaling, and another photo. I firmly believe that if you, you know, to put one in is okay, but I put a second one in because that use of repetition to me is important when putting something together like this. So there it is, the mini album. If you have any questions, shoot me a comment. I will gladly try and help you out, but I thought it was pretty cool that it's a mini album made of 3 envelopes and 3 card bases. So it's amazing what you can do with paper pumpkin kits. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.